Hey folks, what's shaking? I'm running little bit late on doing this. It is April. What the hell? It's April 6th right now, and I picked up my grading order from PSA at the GameStop on April 3rd. So that was Thursday. Um, So I'm going to give a little report, a little rundown, and my kind of thoughts about this. I'll start with the positives. The positives, number one, is it's much faster right now than sending it in the old way, directly to PSA. I submitted these 14 cards on February 3rd, and then the following day I sent 44 to PSA the regular way. Those 44 cards have been in, just now got into research and identification when I checked the app. And I would bet that it's probably going to be another month before I get them here. There was stuff on there that I'm planning to sell during the NFL draft, which is on the 24th of April. I think that I'm going to be pushing it. I probably should have included those into this trial run through GameStop. I have 4 Hannah Hidalgo cards, 3 Juju Watkins cards, 2 Paige Beckers, 1 Anissa Morrow. So on all my women's stuff that I sent in, I got a 10 on every one of them. Okay, so that's another positive. They waited 2 weeks to ship these to PSA. So that when I dropped them off on February 3rd, it wasn't 2 weeks later when they actually mailed them off. I've heard some stores will ship every time they have 10 cards, which that would have been great for me. But I feel like the shop in Bullhead City, Arizona, that they're kind of just now figuring this out. There's been a lot of questions and speculation from my time being in there. Like, for example, thankfully on the Paige Beckers, in about 30 minutes, UConn is playing South Carolina in the national championship game. So I've got these listed in an auction on eBay that will end probably about an hour or so after her being the first pick in the WNBA draft on April 14th. And then the Anissa Morrow, she's going to be a first-round pick also. So that's also listed to go to end on April 14th, an hour or so after she's picked. Hannah Hidalgo, I'm such a big fan of hers, but Notre Dame really laid a fat egg in March Madness. They didn't look so good. Hannah wasn't that. I mean, she was okay, but for being first-team All-American, they kind of stunk it up. And then their second best player, I heard, has already entered the portal to leave the team. And Juju, who's going to be, I think, the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. I wanted to sell these as soon as March Madness started. And unfortunately, in the second game of the tournament, she tore her ACL. And it's probably going to be 10 to 12 months before she plays again. We might not see her at all next year, because I think that she probably would be healing up a month or so before it all ends. So we'll see. But these were going to be sold right away, but now it's looking like I'm going to have to hold them for at least a year. My 1 of 1. So, I bought the 10-pack. And then they randomly insert parallels in, and my 1 of 1 was not charged an upcharge. So it's another good thing. I think that I get her back to scoring 30-point games frequently in another couple years. I can get several $100 for this. Now we get into some of the stuff that's a bit more complaining. 3 of my baseball autos got 9s. Okay, I'm not going to complain on them. these cards, you know, get moved around a bunch before they get... they look like 10s to me, but... And I've been looking close at them. And I don't see anything wrong with them. It's kind of hard to tell what the cornering, what the centering looks like, because the way that the card is designed, it's kind of hard to just figure out what to go off of. And that's off of this last year's. One nice thing is this Christian Campbell guy, we're in the second week of baseball, and they called him up out of spring training. He made the starting lineup, and he's been just killing it. And evidently, I heard that they added 5 years or 8 years, something, 5 to 8 years to his contract with this big, like $50 million raise or something like that. So I've got these two on auctions right now, and I think I will profit a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. And since Hagen Smith is probably the best Arkansas Razorback pitcher of all time, I'm just going to give this one to my mom. She has a Razorbacks collection. Now here's my little complaint. So I came in to the store, I had everything in Card Saver 1s. So it was your standard penny sleeve and a Card Saver 1, which is what 95% of the people who are doing this for real, they use Card Saver 1s. They are preferred. Okay, they've got some little extra room. It's easier to put the cards in and take them out. But my GameStop in Bullhead City, Arizona, made me switch everything out to these Ultra Pro card holders. They're narrower. That doesn't look like much, but it is. And then there's not as much room. And I was nervous having to take everything out of my Card Saver 1s. And then they made me pay 22 cents each on these. And to slowly try to push this card in, you know. And then these, see, I got a 5 on my Travis Bazzana. He was the first pick in the draft. And I could tell that there is a crease now going down the back of the card right here. That was not there when I drove to GameStop. It was... I would bet $1,000 it was for me trying to pull it out and squeeze it into this narrow card holder. That these are for Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards are smaller, they have rounded corners, and they're thinner. So it's a lot easier to get those into these. I can't even imagine like a real thick card coming in here. I have talked to 4 or 5 other people who have used GameStop. And evidently, my Bullhead City location is the only one that requires you to use these stupid Ultra Pro holders. Everybody else I've talked to said, yeah, I walked in, had them in Card Saver 1s, left them, and no problems. Okay? So, if you're going to use GameStop, I recommend that you do not do it. If you're required to use Ultra Pros, just go to a different GameStop or take another route. I'm going to be curious in a couple months when I'm back in God's country if the GameStops, I think there's 4 GameStops in the Northwest Arkansas, that hopefully the Rogers one, which will be my closest one for a while, that they don't care. Because if they, you know, I think I saved money because on the shipping on this, GameStop does not charge insurance. And then the shipping costs are included in the cards. So it's $22 a card instead of $20. But I've had, you know, shipping and insurance on big orders being, you know, a lot more than an extra $2 a card. And it's faster right now. So I am okay with using GameStop. Again, I might use it more. But the determining factor is going to be Card Saver 1s. I'm not even going to ask them. And if they say... you've got to switch them out, then hasta luego, senor. I'm not putting my thick card in this narrow ass stupid made for Pokemon cards. Okay? So I'm stuck with this. You know, could be worse. I'll probably put this up next to my Amazing Spider-Man 238 that that hoser up north sold me. that when I got ripped off. And that's just going to be, those will be 2 reminders of things to be careful about. But I did learn, and one thing that I find reassuring is, of the people I've talked to, I'm the only GameStop that requires these stupid Ultra Pro card holders. So be aware of that. If they ask you to pull your cards out and put them in these, it might be time to walk out the door and say, no thanks. All right, so we're about 30 minutes away from the Women's National Championship coming on. You know, I typically cheer for SEC teams, but I'm actually going for UConn because I got the Paige Beckers, and I've got a PSA 10 autograph card of hers that's also on eBay right now that I think it's at like almost $400 right now, and I would not be surprised if it doubled that by the time this is all said and done. Hope you're all doing well. Have a great day. Peace.